Greetings everyone, it's Kaz here bringing you a video on Just Cause 3, and today we're going to be talking about and I guess doing a sort of mini critique on Just Cause 3, and there is a specific reason for exactly why I'm deciding to do this video now, and that is that Just Cause 3 is available for free for all PlayStation Plus subscribers this month only. So I saw that news, I thought that was very exciting news because Just Cause 3 is a great game, and I'm going to tell you exactly why it's a great game today, and I'm going to tell you exactly why it's 100% worth your free download. But not only is it worth your free download on PS Plus, of course, but Just Cause 3 is a game worth playing on every single platform. Definitely if you're a PC or even an Xbox One player as well, of course, then I'm going to tell you exactly why Just Cause 3 is worth your time. And of course, if you are a PlayStation Plus subscriber, why now is the time to play Just Cause 3. So, let's review and discuss why Just Cause 3 is worth your time. So let's kick things off with this discussion, I guess, with the most impressive thing about Just Cause 3, and that is the game's open world. It is huge, it is gorgeous, it is perhaps the biggest open world game available on consoles today. I'm not 100% sure about that, I'm not adding up all the square miles and things like that, but I feel like that would have to be pretty close to being the case because the open world is insanely massive. From memory, I do believe it would take you around 8-9 hours to actually walk across, not using any vehicles. So that is absolutely insane. But of course, it's not about how big the open world is. If it's huge and there's nothing to do in it and it's as boring as ever, then why the hell would it exist? Now, obviously, the open world in terms of stuff to do isn't necessarily as compelling as open world RPGs like Skyrim, but it does have the advantage of being incredibly dynamic and incredibly fun. I think this is a theme you're going to see with this discussion a lot. Just Cause 3 is just an absolute blast. It's a ton of fun, and it's certainly something you shouldn't take seriously. It's just a total blast of gameplay and experimentation. In terms of what you're doing within the open world itself, for the most part, you'll find yourself taking over a lot of enemy bases. That's how you progress in the game. It fits in also to the main story, which we'll get into a little bit later, where you as Rico Rodriguez, the main protagonist, returning from Just Cause 2, is attempting to retake his homeland, his home nation, from an evil dictator. So to do that, you must lead the rebellion and the resistance and take over this dictatorship. And well, just like you'd expect, you've got to go to these bases, you've got to blow them up, and simply the objective is to cause a certain amount of chaos or damage to these bases before you're able to take them over. This Ubisoft formula of going somewhere and just taking over bases and taking over regions, etc., does sound tiresome, and it could certainly get tiresome if you were to do it for a certain period of time. If you were to do it forever, it does sound boring to execute in that way, but it is a ton of fun being able to play around with all the gadgets you have at your disposal. Not sure if I'd recommend doing it for hundreds of hours, but again, it's just a total blast to hop in. It's the ideal way to cool off and just have a ton of fun within a huge open world. Just blow some crap up, go crazy with experimenting with some vehicles. It is a ton of fun in that respect in terms of the side activities you'll be doing around the open world. So yes, as I mentioned, you'll be expanding your territory. That is, I guess, other than the main story missions, the primary objective of this resistance, of this rebellion. You're expanding your regions, and you'll be getting larger and larger territories as you progress throughout the game. This will allow you to, I guess, unlock more of the map and progress further in that respect. Now, the map is fully unlocked from the start of the game. You can go anywhere and do anything, but as you take over more regions, you'll find it easier to traverse certain areas and to get to certain places, because otherwise you'll be flying dead through enemy territory, and depending on how good you are at traversing the world, that may not end too well for you. So I mentioned there the experimentation and mechanics briefly, so let's get into that a little bit, shall we? Because it is those features within the open world that makes Just Cause 3 truly special and rounds out the experience. Because this game really is a playground. There is really no other way to describe it. It's just a ton of fun. I mean, for God's sake, around the map there's destructible bridges that you can use your grenades and C4 like explosives to blow up, and it's a ton of fun doing that because all the cars will come crashing down. It's really a sight to behold, and it really just promotes the playground nature of the game, because even though it's obviously unrealistic and whatnot, you'll fly away and you'll go and do something else, do a mission, whatever it may be, come back and the bridge is back. The bridge is back there, it's respawned or whatever, it's reappeared, and I know that sounds silly and it does sound unrealistic, but at the end of the day, that sums up what this game is going for. It's not trying to be serious, it's not trying to be realistic, it's trying to be just a ton of fun. And blowing up bridges a lot using grenades and C4s and whatever it may be, using aeroplanes and stuff, is not only a ton of fun, but it is also a testament to Avalanche, the developers of the game, and their engine for being able to do this with little performance hiccups. The game does have some frame rate drops, and there were especially reports of this upon launch, but as of now, I've never really had any issues with the frame rate consistently, but your experience may be different to mine in that respect. So the engine is very impressive in how it is able to creatively and dynamically adjust to your playstyle and adjust to exactly how you want to approach and what you want to do within the awesome, incredibly large open world. In terms of Rico's loadout, just like in Just Cause 2, which also was a fantastic game worth checking out if you want to go back to the past generation of consoles, the grappling hook returns within this game. Within Just Cause 2, it was your main method of traversal, and you could use it in many creative ways in order to get around the map, and that stays the same in Just Cause 3, and in Just Cause 2 you could also attach the grapple to multiple items or objects within the map, say attach a car to the bridge, or attach an aeroplane to a car, or a variety of different things, almost infinite possibilities with the grapple hook. Just like in Just Cause 2, except in Just Cause 3, you can be even more creative because you have the ability to pull items together. And this can create some incredibly fun, and again, I'm using this term a lot, but it's true, dynamic situations that can be both incredibly hilarious and fun to try and navigate. This game just encourages creativity in almost every single way, and that continues, of course, with the wingsuit, a new introduction to Rico's loadout with Just Cause 3, and in Just Cause 2, where you'd be using the grappling hook for your main method of traversal. Of course, the grappling hook still helps out this time around, but now the wingsuit is the main way you'll be getting around the map, zipping around. It is an absolute blast to use. It is that perfect mix of difficult to control and master, but not absolutely ridiculously hard. It's not really hard to control, you can get the hang of it relatively quickly, but it's also not really easy to be able to pull off incredible maneuvers and swing out of the way. If you're an amateur, and even maybe if you're not an amateur at the wingsuit, you'll still be crashing into trees every now and then. But that only makes it even more satisfying when you're able to nail some really cool moves with the wingsuit, especially in some close calls. In terms of upgrading your grapple hook, your wingsuit, and the rest of Rico's arsenal, you'll be going around the open world completing certain time trial related challenges, things along those lines. They're not all time trials, but they're sort of side activities, side missions style activities you'll be doing around the map, and they will give you more points to be able to spend on upgrading your abilities. And these are upgrades that are not necessarily necessary, but they are also a ton of fun, and even though they are completely optional, you will find yourself wanting to go and get those upgrades. You want to be able to use more C4s, you want to be able to make your grappling hook more powerful, which again just encourages further experimentation. This game is absolutely genius at doing that. The devs were pure geniuses at encouraging creativity, and that really is why you should get this game. Full stop. It's amazing for that reason alone. But as you'd expect in a Just Cause, or even really any big open world title these days, there is a vast array of vehicles and weapons at your disposal within Just Cause 3. There's so many different types of vehicles. You can get anything from jet skis to huge cargo planes. There's a lot of variety in the game in that respect that I feel would only be paralleled with something like GTA 5. Not to mention there's some really crazy weapons, especially Easter egg related weapons. You can get some really crazy stuff that I don't want to spoil for you, but feel free to look up how to get those. They're a ton of fun as well. The gunplay isn't absolutely marvellous. GTA 5 definitely, I feel, does a better job at that. There are times when Rico himself, as you're shooting, as you're taking fire from enemies, he does feel a bit floaty, especially when he's getting knocked around a fair amount, when he's getting hit with bullets and rockets, etc. So he doesn't control the best in that respect, but it's certainly serviceable enough. It's not terrible, but it gets the job done, as it clearly wasn't Avalanche's focus when developing this game. So it can't hold a candle to other open world games in the genre perhaps, but it's certainly decent enough. And I briefly mentioned it earlier, but graphically, this game is stunning. Oh my god, your jaw will just drop. It may be, and this of course is a bit subjective, it may be the best looking open world game ever made. At least I feel like it'd have to be in the top 5 of that list. It's just gorgeous, and oh my god, the water is stunning, man. It may be right up there with Horizon Zero Dawn in terms of graphics and presentation in that respect. Let's get to a few cons now. The voice acting is not horrendous, but it's pretty bad, and it certainly could be improved, as it isn't the game's strongest aspect, and it certainly could use some improvement. Now, let's use this opportunity to transition into the story, and this is where the game's at its weakest. The plot is pretty much as straightforward as it gets. Rico's objective is to defeat the evil dictator guys and take back his homeland, and that's pretty much it. And obviously this game doesn't need a deep plot, I'm not really asking for that necessarily, but it just didn't really work for me. The game's writing and characters are often absurd, which is clearly a deliberate choice, as you can tell via the voice acting. It's what Avalanche were going for with the writing, with the performances, and with the overall tone of the story, and with the game. The whole thing's meant to be a joke to an extent, but I don't know, it just didn't really gel with me as well as I would have liked it to. Perhaps I would have enjoyed the absurdity more if I found it actually funny. At times I felt a lot of the jokes and humour they were going for fell flat for me personally, but you may disagree. But I guess it is good to see that the narrative, and again, the tone of the game overall, is very self-aware in that respect. But there was a point where I just could not care less about continuing the story, and I just jumped back into the open world because that's what I found so fun, just driving around, flying around, just blowing crap up, and it is undoubtedly where it shines. Overall, Just Cause 3 is definitely worth playing on every platform for its fun, dynamic, and very experimental open world and mechanics that drive home the fact that this game is designed to be a purely fun playground for the player, and at that it certainly succeeds with flying colours. The story isn't super strong, the voice acting and performances aren't great either, and while the gunplay can be relatively weak at times, the rest of the game, its open world, its execution is fantastic, and if you have a PS Plus subscription, there's no reason you should not get Just Cause 3, but of course if you want an open world to just relax in and jump into, have a blast, Just Cause 3 is worth your time on every single platform, every single day of the year. So what are your thoughts on Just Cause 3? If you have given it a shot, make sure you let me know in the comment section below. Thank you all very much for watching today's video, I do hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here, and at the same time, do check out some of my other content. That would be very much appreciated. All my social links and a link to the previous video are in the description down below. Again, thank you very much for watching today's video, it is truly appreciated very, very much. I'll see you all next time, do take care, farewell.